Hello, Jordan.
What's up, Michael?
Huge congratulations to everyone who got in the mentorship at the sale price, the lowest the price will ever be. The sale is officially closed. We are pumped to have you in the group. Usually we do our podcast, then mentorship Q&A. Today we did mentorship Q&A first. It was a banger, ton of really good questions. And now we're recording the podcast. Just wanted to let you know sale's over.
It's been really cool. Sale is over, by the way. No exceptions. Sale's over. It's been really cool. How long have we been doing it now, the mentorship? 6 years?
25. Yeah. Uh-huh. The questions have gotten better and better.
Dude.
Somehow.
Oh my gosh. The group is just peak group.
Yeah.
Peak group, peak coaches, peak questions. It's fucking awesome. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly right. What's up, man? I got a couple things here. You ready?
Bro, you asked if I was ready before we hit recording. You asked, yeah, dude, I'm ready.
That's my way of just making sure you're dialed into what's about to happen.
I hope.
I got a real take.
Oh, I love your takes. Let's do it.
Chicken salad is such an offensive food choice. Like, chicken salad as a food, I want no business with chicken salad ever. Ever. Like,
I'll say chicken salad at the grocery store, completely agree. My wife makes a chicken salad with Greek yogurt.
All right.
Homemade chicken. You know what I mean?
I'm not coming out swinging at Nene. I didn't know about Nene's chicken salad. All right. I wasn't aware. I've never, you know what?
Chicken salad is fucking
I would
gross.
like to try it.
Oh.
Well, here's the thing. It is. I'm sure your wife's is incredible, and I can't wait to try it, and I know it's going to be dialed. But chicken salad from the grocery store is this and the way that most people make it is this combination.
Completely agree.
It's like it tricks people because it leads the word chicken, and so you think you're getting a protein source, but you're not. You're getting a fat source. Chicken salad is a dietary fat source. It's a mayonnaise bomb. And when you're going to get this food that is majority dietary fat, thinking that you're getting protein, you at least want it to be delicious, right? Mm-hmm. But it's not. It like the sound that chicken salad makes when you scoop it out of it's offensive. It's reprehensible. Yeah. It's bad, man. It's bad. It's bad for all fitness goal. Look, if it's your favorite food and your grandma makes chicken salad, respect. I'm kind of kidding here, but really, I just see people eat it as protein, and it's not protein. The rotisserie chicken plus like massive amounts of mayo, you have more fat than protein in grams, and fat is 2.25 times as calorically dense as protein. So really, it's like 70% fat by calorie. It's just not good. It's not good. And I know there's no good and bad foods, but chicken salad's a bad food. Let the record show.
I agree. Also, I hate mayonnaise.
Yeah. What's up with mayonnaise?
I don't get it. And in the UK, they'll put it on French fries and shit. And like, dude, mayonnaise, not a fan.
Not a fan. If you're going to add that level of decadence, it needs to come with that level of taste. And I actually think it has negative taste.
Agreed.
Right? Like a nice, if you're looking to, let's say you got a turkey sandwich and it's dry and you want to add a little something to it to give it a little moisture, a little more texture.
Mustard,
even like a low-cal honey mustard, which has a little bit of carbs, but it's a
little Grey Poupon.
Not my favorite, but way better than mayonnaise. Yeah.
Yep. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll take the worst mustard on earth over the best mayonnaise any day of the week.
Dude, imagine like if someone gave you a gift, like here's a gift, but then they shit on the gift. That's like when someone gives you a turkey sandwich and then like, oh, by the way, there's mayonnaise on it. It's like, well, you just took a perfectly good gift and then shit on my gift.
Yeah. And by the way, I can get behind turkey sandwich with a tiny bit of mayonnaise. Like that doesn't offend me because you get what you think you're getting. You're getting a protein dense food with maybe like half a tablespoon of mayonnaise, like thinly. Chicken salad is just bottles of mayonnaise with a little bit of chicken.
Yeah. I just don't like mayonnaise at all. Anything with mayonnaise, even a little bit. If I have a hint of mayonnaise, I'm out. I'm done. But to my wife's credit, she makes a chicken salad with Greek yogurt. That is, bro. And she puts some walnuts in there, and it's super good. But the store-bought mayonnaise-laden mayonnaise salad with chicken is what it is. It's mayonnaise soup. It's mayonnaise soup with some chicken. It's like that's what it is.
With a couple pieces of chicken.
Yeah. Yep. Mayonnaise soup with chicken. That's what it is.
Yeah, you're right. Soup. It's soupy. All right, moving on. Did you hear the news? You're going to love this. You're going to be ecstatic.
I have one thing that happened in the news within the last 24 hours that I can't get out of my head because of how wild it is. But I don't love it. I think it's crazy. But what are you thinking?
There's new research that shows
I was talking about something else.
Glass water bottles.
Oh, more plastic in glass.
Not just more, like between like somewhere between twice as much up to like 30 to 50 times as much plastic in
crazy?
Glass water bottles compared to plastic water bottles. Got my Kirkland plastic water bottle here.
Wow. Dude. Yeah, man.
So it's just a reminder not to major in the minors. If your calories aren't on point, if you're not strength trained, if you're not getting steps, if you don't have your sleep on some kind of regimen, but you're freaking out about never drinking out of a plastic water bottle and you only want glass water bottles, like it's not the play. Yeah.
Relax.
Also just wild, right?
It is pretty crazy, especially because the cap is just such a small portion of it. You would never expect that would lead to so much more, but also highlights how little there must be in the plastic water bottles if that cap is having so much more,
True.
It's just,
True. And it's like the cap, and I think if the cap is painted, then there's even more very interesting though. Definitely.
I would hate to be one of those influencers who's like drinking out of a glass bottle, making one of those videos being like, I only drink out of this because of the plastic content. And then now they're like, ooh.
Well, and if someone is doing that, then I would hope and expect that there's a pivot in like anything, new research comes along. Cool. If it changes their opinion, if it doesn't change the perspective and they just ignore the new research, then that's a low integrity move right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, I thought that was interesting.
Dude, super interesting. I never see you drink out of a plastic water bottle either.
Let the record show that if we run this podcast back, I have drank out of a plastic water bottle at least double. I would guess probably 3 to 5 times the number of times that you have on this podcast.
Dude, probably 10 times.
Oh, okay. Good. So you're the glass bottle influencer that you were referencing before.
No. I just know that you usually drink out of your black shaker bottle.
Yeah. It's a different kind of plastic, but I mean these actual, remember because I asked you to guess how much these Kirkland water bottles were?
Oh, yeah.
And you tried to get it right, so you underguessed it, which is the worst. When someone's
just
like,
ruin it.
Yeah, you just ruin it.
What else? What else is going on, Dad?
What's up, Dad? Everything's good, man. Things are good. I don't have a lot to report. Newborn is sleeping good, eating good. Takes a lot of number 2s, a lot of number 1s as well. A lot of dirty diapers.
Good
kid. I was telling you before. She's got a good head on her shoulders.
Good.
Yeah. She's got her priorities straight.
Studying hard.
Studying hard. That's right.
Good.
That's right.
Good.
Studying her I don't even know what you call them. Her cards that
do you
have
sing
like
to
black
her?
And white. I do, but I'm not great.
Do you sing like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star?
I have sang Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, yeah.
Oh, nice. I'm
more of a talker. I think she likes my talking voice more than my singing voice. But yeah, I mix it up,
Nice.
What about you, Dad?
Dude. Dad life. Best life, man.
Yeah.
I was playing outside yesterday with my oldest. It was a beautiful day, and out of nowhere, just a massive rainstorm comes out. My daughter's like, "We got to go inside," and I was like, "Okay," but then I I hold on to her and I stay out in the pouring rain, and she's like screaming. It was fun. It was super fun. So yeah, dad
That's
life is
awesome.
great, bro. Yeah.
I love that. Kids need to be exposed to the rain and the elements. That was well done by you. Modernity has sheltered us too much to this 68 to 72 degree inside lifestyle, whereas a little bit of grounding in the rain never hurt anyone.
You ever go outside and it's like barely, it's misting, like barely misting, and you do like the shrug your shoulders up, and I'll catch myself sometimes in the rain. I'm going to the grocery store, I'm going whatever, and like I get out of the car and it's barely coming down, but like you start to shelter yourself up and like shrug your shoulders up to try and hide. And I'm trying to like, hey, you're going to get wet no matter what. Get your shoulders down, walk in, and if you get wet, whatever. Like it's that like instinctual, let me cover myself up. I'm like, no, let me just enjoy this rain for a minute.
Yeah, let me just get wet in the rain. Just be one with nature.
Yeah.
I like that. I like you imparting that on the new generation. What are you sipping on there?
This is my wife took my oldest to swim, and on their way back, they stopped at Dunkin' Donuts, and she got me an iced coffee, and I put some Fairlife into it because Fairlife milk is the greatest milk. So I got a hazelnut iced coffee from Dunkin', which is super underrated, and
Nice.
just put some Fairlife in it.
That's the double filtered milk that has more protein than regular milk?
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I knew deep down you were always a protein guy all these years. Even when you went on your fiber journey, I knew that in your heart of hearts you were a protein guy.
Yeah, dude, I'm a protein guy, just with
even when you went on your hip thrusting journey at one point, I knew you were a protein guy.
I've never been on a hip thrusting journey, and you know that. You know I've never. You don't even like the hip thrust. You're not a hip thrust guy.
I don't hate it as outwardly as you do. But yeah, no one really wants to be setting up all that weight.
No, they don't.
It's a solid move. I program it a lot. I do it myself. Maybe
Barbell hip thrusts?
Well, I'm trying to think of how many weeks out of the average calendar year do I have the barbell hip thrust?
Less than 4 per year. Less than 4 per year do you barbell hip thrust. I would put money on that right now.
I'd have to dig through some programs, and it depends on what time frame we're looking at, but that's not a bad bet. It's definitely somewhere between 3 and 8 weeks per year.
That is absolutely not true at all.
Okay, what am I doing? I want to hear you try and guess.
I would bet in the last 3 years. Well, 3
years is not a good number because
it's an amazing number.
No, because 2024, I was really off my game in life.
Okay, so that includes.
I'm looking at like a 5 to 8 year window.
Okay, in the last 5 to 8 years, I bet you've spent less than 20 weeks doing barbell hip thrusts.
20 weeks more than you, my man. All right, next. Jordan, do you remember the time where I was getting ready for bed, got the baby down, which isn't always easy, kissed the wife goodnight, pop the melatonin in, roll over. It's like 10:15 at night. I'm counting down the minutes until the 4 a.m. feed is coming up. We're like, all right, if I fall asleep now, I get 5.5 hours of sleep. That's not the worst. I like 9, but if I can get 5.5, I'll take 5.5 tonight. And put a little show on or a YouTube, something longer form where I'm not scrolling. You know, got my phone dimmed all the way down. Eyelids are starting to shut. And it's just I'm about to go into Never Land. And then I get the little drop down text. Jordan Syatt, USA bombed Iran. And my eyes shoot open. I'm like, oh no. I feel the cortisol coursing through my veins. I'm wide awake. I'm like, what do I do here? I didn't want to respond. And then you call and we get in this like back and forth. And I don't want to go that route. So I downloaded Twitter, which is also maybe the lesser of two evils, but neither was good. Thankfully, Twitter wasn't reacting that strongly to it at the time. And so I was able to shrug it off and get to sleep eventually. But it was a very, it took me from like maximum chill to like, it took me from like 3 out of 100, whatever, negative emotion to like 94.
Did it take you from like 3 fear to 94 fear? Was it the highest your fear has been?
If we're being honest, there was probably like 50% just annoyance because I was about to fall asleep and I could feel the cortisol coursing. But yeah, fear was high. I mean, whether it was 70 or 90, there was a brief moment there where it was high.
Are we going to war? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't spiral on that level. Yeah. It was funny.
Did you get to bed at all? Did you get any sleep?
Yeah, I was within 20 to 25 minutes.
Got it. So you got 5 hours.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There was no real damage done. It was more just the fact that I re-downloaded Twitter and then deleted it off my phone before bed.
To be fair, you also said I can text you anytime.
You can.
said that. Yeah.
I love waking up to a good...
I don't call you anytime because you might be sleeping, but texting.
You did nothing wrong. It was just a funny moment for me.
An alarmist text.
Well, yeah. Because I can just see you like seeing that news and I can see your mind going, we're going to war. And then I can see you passing that like emotion on to others, me being others in that moment. And that makes me kind of laugh.
No, I didn't think we were going to war because what happened was as you know, I take Friday night to Saturday night off social media. So like I'm not on Instagram Shabbat just with the family. I'm not on Instagram. So after Shabbat ends at night, I get on Instagram for the first time and I'm always inundated. I just like immediately with whatever's been going on that day. And so then I see like immediately like boom, like USA bombs Iran. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I started digging into it. So I had to text you that. But yeah, I wanted to share it with someone. But
Thank you.
I didn't get a reply.
I replied in the morning.
Yeah, man. But there's no war. No World War III so far.
So far, so good, which is...
Iran had a little like ceremonious counterattack, which they gave like, I don't know if you saw anything about that.
They gave a heads up about it.
Yeah, and like caused no damage. I think it was more so they could tell their people that they're like, hey, we
retaliated.
Struck back.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, we don't need to... This isn't the geopolitics podcast. That's for certain. But...
it's not geopolitics. It's just the Middle Eastern politics podcast.
What's that?
We don't cover everything.
The two personal
we don't
trainers.
cover Entebbe and stuff. We just cover... I'm joking. Anyway, yeah.
I didn't even know what that was, but didn't we talked about Russia, Ukraine back when that was happening, didn't we?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we talk about whatever we want.
So we...
This is the geopolitics podcast, and if you want to be a personal trainer, there's stuff in here too.
How to become a personal trainer with the two personal trainers who are way over, well, at least I'm way over my skis on anything related to that. But yes, it does seem like struck the nuclear sites and not leading to a forever war a la George Bush era, which many were rightfully concerned about, but incorrect as of right now, which is a good thing. Yeah, absolutely. I'll continue to go down my list, although I don't have a ton. How's your list for this week?
Oh, dude, it's good.
Oh, nice. What do you give me? Something.
No, let's finish yours first.
Okay. The only other thing I have is having a baby with you in public changes the way that people interact with you in a pretty crazy way.
In what, like how they look at you, or like?
Yeah, I think more. You know what I think I never realized, and this is actually an interesting point for a lot of dudes to think about, is until like maybe the last 3 or 4 years, and I don't know what made it hit me, but I never realized that my presence might come off as threatening to people.
Okay.
And that in general, I never realized that a lot, if not, I can just generalize and say women in general can feel very vulnerable, like out in the world a lot of the times.
Yeah.
And I was never considering that I was a potential threat in the eyes of a stranger, which could be a man or a woman, but generally speaking, women. And I think a baby is just like, okay, this person's safe. This like guy who's power walking around isn't about to like, try and club me over the head, but he's like a safe person.
Yeah. It's immediately like, I'm good. I'm safe. You don't have to worry about me doing anything. Whereas otherwise, you see a big, strong, muscular, jacked dude walking around. Because no one looks at me as a threat, so I don't deal with what you deal with. No one,
they do.
No.
Jordan has 17. Jordan, all right, I'm going to out you right now. Jordan's, when he says he's doing the splits, what he's really doing is high volume bicep work. Last week we were on a mentorship Q&A, and he was demonstrating this like, wrist extension move, and his biceps looked enormous on there. And so we all came to the conclusion that Jordan's been secretly training for aesthetics in addition to performance.
We all came to that conclusion, as in you came to that.
Yes.
No. Yeah. I mean, it's having a baby. Also, not only does it mean that does it likely mean, not always, but does it likely mean that you're not a threat? But also it's like babies are just super cute.
Of course.
So it's just
that's the obvious. Like they want to look and they want to ask questions, and people want to engage more, which makes total sense.
Yeah.
But that was my like.
Have you had anyone come up to you while you've had your daughter out and just be like, "Oh, hi"? Like, did anyone do that?
Yeah. So it's just walking around the neighborhood because we're not taking her into like public places yet at this age.
Makes sense.
Like, grocery shopping or something like that at this point. But yeah, it's moving in that direction. And if not, then just the nonverbal, the smiles, the like, yeah.
How livid would you be if someone came over your house and they were sick and they didn't tell you?
I just kick them out.
Yeah.
I'm a like, you got to go. You got to take that coughing, sneezing out of here.
That was like the first time I've seen my wife actually get angry, especially with both of our daughters actually, but especially with our first, because you get so protective. Mm-hmm. You have this protective instinct that comes out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. And your infant is so delicate and so fragile and so susceptible to everything. And then people would come over and they'd be like, "Oh, by the way, I have a really bad cough." And it's like, "Are you out of your mind?"
Yeah, that's.
I remember I got mad. I forgot about this until just this moment. I remember within a week or two after having my first daughter, I was in the gym downstairs in our building, and there was a dude hacking up a lung in the gym, and it took every ounce of self-control to not be like, can you not be working out in a public gym when you're this unbelievably sick? Like coughing on all the dumbbells, all the bar, and not covering his mouth. But even if you were, it's like, it was like a deep hoarse cough. Like, work out, but do it in your own space. Don't go to, you don't know who you've got, who someone has at home that could get this. It's like, it's a problem, man. Yeah, I would get so mad. I would get so mad.
Yeah. I mean, and that's even a step down from that person coming to visit you and your daughter.
Correct.
Yeah. It's an interesting, I agree with you. I think there is a level of consideration that people need to take with with being aware of if they're sick or not, and not going to public spaces and getting other people sick. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think my thoughts on that issue have changed, not just in the last several weeks, but over the last several years of, be a little more considerate with trying not to, if you know you're sick, don't go do things.
Yeah.
As much. Well, there's still like, the other half of it is don't be soft, right? Like I sneezed twice, I'm going to skip my workout today. It's like, no. Like, I'm not going to encourage that. But if you're genuinely sick and contagious, then don't go get other people sick.
Yeah.
But don't be soft. Like, don't use it as an excuse.
Work out at home or like go on a walk or something. Yeah. But like,
well, I mean, honestly, I'm one of the biggest proponents of, if you're actually genuinely sick, you shouldn't be training at full intensity anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Depending on, There's above the neck, below the neck. Like, depends how sick you are. If you have a little bit of a
Yeah.
head cold, you don't need to skip a week of training, but
Correct.
be smart. All right, what's on your list? I'm excited for this list.
Man, my list
I've
is
never been more
intense.
excited. Oh, let's go.
You want me to pull up questions?
No, I want to hear what's on your list.
Bro, I don't think we could go over my list today. My list is...
What was the thing when I said that there was a piece of news and I was referring to the plastic water bottle situation and you thought it was something else? What was that something else?
Oh my gosh. It's actually ridiculous.
Good.
So this was just like most recently on my social media feed. It was a ridiculous thing to see. Trump has been speaking at NATO. I don't know, you see this? Trump is
No.
speaking to all the NATO allies.
Mm-mm.
And one of the head people, potentially like the head NATO person, apparently called Trump. He called Trump daddy. And
Okay. Who was it?
I forget who it was. And then a reporter asked Trump about it, and they were like, do you view your NATO allies as like your children? And then whoever's in charge of Trump's social media made a video of I forget which song it was, but it was like the song that's like "Daddy's Home."
Okay.
And it's just like them leaning into the people in NATO calling. It was just ridiculous. Just and the comments under the post, because it was on Trump's Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
There were some people who were like, "Give your social media manager a raise. This is hilarious." And then other people being like, "You need to fire your social media manager. This is horrible." But
Just leaning into the joke.
Just ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah.
That feels like recency bias, that when I said that I saw something new on social media, that's what you thought I was going to talk about.
Yeah. It was a huge thing on social media today. And that's where it's like the first thing that came to my mind.
Interesting. So this was like another world leader, like a president or prime minister of a European country or something?
Or just like someone who's a head within the NATO program,
Okay.
not necessarily like a world leader.
And like, was it a man or a woman?
I think it was a joke.
He said it was a joke. Got it.
It was a joke.
And he likes Trump.
Yeah, he likes Trump.
Okay, cool.
He likes Trump, and he was just like,
Call him
"You're
daddy.
the boss" type thing. Like,
Ah,
and I think it was based on, since Trump has come in, and he has historically done this with NATO, where he's like, he makes NATO, one of the issues that he's had with NATO is that America pays generally significantly more than other countries and contributes more to it. And a lot of times people have said, well, that's just how it's going to be. And Trump is like, well, I think other countries should pay their fair share. And many people have been like, well, you're not going to be able to make them do it. And then historically, Trump has gotten what he wants, and they start paying their fair share. And so I think that's what this guy was referencing. He's like, oh, daddy's back. Like,
I see.
Yep. They're paying their fair share again. And the reporter was like, now that they have increased how much they're contributing, this guy referred to you as daddy. Do you view your NATO allies as your children?
And wait, and what did he say to that?
I'm trying to remember. I don't want to misquote it, but
Okay.
he was like, he's like, no, they're not my children. I forget what he said. I just remember watching Marco Rubio in the background lose it laughing. Like he is in the middle of this press conference, and Marco Rubio just starts dying laughing at the question.
You have been doing your podcast now with the high production quality and the guests in person and the, having your videographer there and doing it for YouTube, doing it on a bigger level for a few months now. How's it going in your eyes?
Dude?
I love it.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's my favorite.
What are 1 to 2 things that you really like about it, and what are 1 to 2 things that either you don't like or just that you find really challenging about it?
I'll start with the challenge. Like, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work in terms of, I'm not going into any of these podcasts unprepared. Like, for every single guest, I'm doing many hours of preparation work, researching them.
Does that mean consuming their content, listening to them
Yeah.
on other podcasts? Like, what is that?
Yeah, so consuming their like tomorrow, for example, I have this woman. She's a former CIA spy, and she actually worked in the Middle East, and she's not allowed to say where specifically she worked in the Middle East, but she is one of the people who led the interrogation on one of the key players within 9/11. So I'm reading her book right now.
Listening to it?
Listening to it. Yeah, listening to it
Just
while
wanna
I've
make
been
sure-
working out.
That was just me being competitive, because the thought of you reading a whole book when my attention span can't at this point would have pushed me to start reading again, just so you know.
No, just listening to the audiobook, which has been frustrating
impressive.
because there's been a lot of it's been redacted, like for CIA review. So like as they're reading the book, you'll hear all of a sudden like, and we went to redacted CIA review, and we went to, and then we spoke to redacted CIA review. Like it's a
Makes
lot
sense.
of it. But anyway, so I'm having her on, but I've had a Holocaust survivor on, just published that one. I do a lot of prep work, which is difficult, but also makes it more enjoyable because I think the conversations have been amazing and I get to know them much better. And so, yeah, I mean, my favorite part is that I get to sit down and have really meaningful conversations that I think are super helpful to people. And the response has been wonderful. And I've been so tired of the short form social media world and not just consuming it, but contributing to it and trying to make content that fits it. I was looking at my analytics. The median average consumption, or the median consumption time.
Let me guess. Is there a minimum that they need to watch for it to log on the threshold?
60 seconds.
No. On YouTube or Instagram?
No, on the audio, on the podcast.
Oh, I thought you were going to say for your short form social media. Okay.
Oh,
for
no,
podcast?
No, for podcast, median consumption time after a week is over an hour. And I posted this, and people were like, well, sometimes it takes me more than a week to listen to your episode, just so you know.
Yeah.
But like median consumption time was an hour and 11 minutes.
Do you know median consumption time on Instagram?
I would say I can look at posts, and most people are gone by 10, 15 seconds.
That doesn't surprise me. That seems high.
Yeah. Most people are gone by that point.
Especially if you think about the number of people who don't follow you if you show up in their feed and it's like, am I watching this? Yeah.
Yeah. The vast majority are gone by 10, 15 seconds.
How are the reels from the podcast doing?
Sometimes, in terms of engagement, sometimes they go bananas and do super well. I really enjoy them because I can get a few very high quality clips that are super educational and meaningful, and then also drive people there. What I found, the engagement overall has not been incredible. They don't do as well as like a talking head video of myself or something like that. But what I have found is even though the engagement isn't as good, my podcast numbers have increased dramatically, which what I'm finding is that
people to the podcast.
Exactly.
Which is
getting people who are to go and listen to the podcast, which is exactly the goal. Yeah, exactly.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. Let's go. And obviously you're doing the work for the podcast and those clips get generated, but the benefit compared to a talking head is you don't have to sit there and think, what am I going to talk about? And then make a reel, edit a reel and upload it. It's like you get sent. I'm sure there's collaboration with you and your editors, but you're basically, it's being made for you based on the work you've already done, which is a big time saver.
Yeah, it's awesome. I really enjoy it. I really, really enjoy it. And I think it plays to my strengths, which is conversation.
Yeah, conversation and penis, which is a term that I busted out the other day that Jordan thought of the anatomical male genitalia when I was spelling it P-NESS, meaning like on Myers-Briggs, the last letter P versus J, and being perceptive versus judging, which is like, you're very, even if you didn't prep for these pods, like they wouldn't go as well, I'm sure, but you could really hold your own. Here's what I'll say. If you took every quote unquote every like personal trainer who's making content and you had them have a podcast with guests that they're at least reasonably interested in, but no one prepped, your skill set and personality would put you in a position where you would rank very highly in how that goes compared to your peers. So
I agree.
It is a strength.
I think one of the best things in terms of the prep is it's actually given me more confidence in my ability to push back on something I disagree with, which is something that I think is really important if you plan on having honest conversations with people. I need to get more comfortable pushing back when they say stuff that I don't agree with.
Which is probably very hard, for someone who, like, you're inviting them on your podcast.
Yeah.
So you're not, it's not like a hostile, like, CNN interview, right? It's more, and probably depends on the guest too, right? Like, some people are probably more okay with that, and some people are more aggressive or might shut down, or
but by preparing ahead of time, I can start to see, I can almost like lead my way into a disagreement in a much more non-confrontational way, less combative way, and give them an opportunity to clarify beforehand, or if not, and I actually did this with Sammy, the Holocaust survivor. He said something I just vehemently disagreed with, and it was one of the most uncomfortable moments in my life, where I literally just had to say, like, I completely disagree with you. Like, I had to say it, but it feels really bad because you're talking to a Holocaust survivor, so you don't want to be like, by the way, I completely disagree with you. But there are some things where I was like, I can't. Like, I need to let everybody listening know I don't agree with that.
But then when the big thing that he said that you disagreed with, wasn't he like, that's okay? And then he made like a really good counterpoint to your disagreement. And you were like,
correct. Yeah, and he said he was happy that I disagreed. He's like, good, we need to be able to disagree. It's important to have these conversations, which I think was super helpful. And he did make a great counterpoint. Yeah.
Well, good, bro. I'm glad that's going well. What else is on your list? You know what? Shout out Coach G in the mentorship, Georgie. We gave Georgie some homework in the mentorship, and she got a good chunk of it done, which is good. And then she was hanging out with her grandchild, so the rest of her homework is going to be for next week, which is amazing. I'm going to give you some homework right now. You want me to
make a list?
You have been prepping so well for your podcast, and I didn't realize. I mean, I knew you were a prepper with survival instincts. There was a period in there where that was an interest of yours.
Oh, that's still an interest.
But now you're a podcast prepper as well. And I didn't realize that until this moment. And it's great insight. So Jordan is going to start coming with a list to this podcast.
No, bro, you knew. Even when you came here for our podcast, I remember you were like, oh, this is nice. Remember? Because I led that nice podcast and you were like,
yeah, that was. But okay. But now I really know. Now it's sunk in. I thought maybe you were, now I know on a different level. So your homework will be to come with 3 ideas to every personal trainer podcast to talk about.
Okay. Just remind me the day before.
Nope. This is your reminder.
No.
Did Sammy the Holocaust survivor remind you to do your homework? Do it for our audience, Jord. And they're going to keep tuning in. They're going to keep listening. Dig deep. 3 things.
All right. My audience, just shoot me a DM. Hey, pick your 3 things for your podcast. We record usually on Tuesdays or Thursdays. So if anyone wants to be kind and remind me, that would be amazing.
It's honestly, audience, it's not your responsibility. Jordan will come with 3 things. You can remind him if you have the time and wherewithal, but if you don't, he'll still have 3 things because he has the capacity right now. He's going to come with 3 things per episode.
But if anyone wants to remind me, that'd be great.
That'd be great. Unnecessary, but great, but unnecessary. So he's going to have 3 great things to talk about each week. And this what is this? Episode 230? It's about to really take off. We're both going to have things to discuss. It's going to be really good. So we're all very excited. I'm going to make a note. Jordan has 3 things so that I don't forget to hold you to the fire. Yeah, they can be anything. Make them
anything.
Literally anything. Make them, slanted towards stuff that our listeners want to hear about, but also just anything.
Okay. Perfect.
3 things list Jordan. Good. Do you feel like your Q&A's in a good place right now that'll make good conversation for us?
No, my Q&A's have been terrible. The worst questions.
How come? That's you know what? That's actually a wild data point because the Q&A's in the mentorship have been so high quality.
Yeah.
I wonder what the difference is.
People in the mentorship have done a lot of research and they they go out of their way to learn. And if they have questions, I'll say this. I think the people in the mentorship, if they have a question, the first place they go isn't to Instagram. The first place they go is to look for a high quality source elsewhere. Whereas a lot of the people, a huge portion of my questions that I get in my Q&A are answers that are questions that I've answered in depth already. So the most common question I get right now, swear to God, what are my thoughts on vibration plates? That's the most common question I get. And I deliberately made a YouTube video answering this question because I get it so much.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Are those trending hard right now?
Huge. Vibration plates are everywhere.
It is a positive data point that people aren't asking about how to lose body fat. It's almost like they learned that one.
Oh, they still ask me that, brother.
Well, it's not the most popular.
And they think they're asking about the vibration plates because they think that it's going to help them lose fat.
Yeah. So. There are moments in life where I'm grateful that I'm not making short form content.
Yeah.
And right there was one of them. That was
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want me to open up? I can see if there's something.
Probably not. If it's a lot of vibration plates, probably not.
Low fat diets versus low carb diets.
We could talk about that.
I thought you'd like that one.
Good job, Jordan. What do you think?
What do I think, or what do I think you think?
Both.
I think that, if I say I want to play like Oz Perlman right now, I sort of want to read your mind, but here's what's going to happen.
I don't want to do dark magic here on the podcast. That
here's
could be a different podcast.
If I tell you what I think you think, then you're going to be like, you're going to go the other way. If I say what I think you think and I get it right, then you're going to be like, well, actually.
I'm going to meta you. I know what you think I think. You think.
Yeah.
You think that I think that high carb diets are better than low carb diets.
Yeah.
And
you
I do.
Go the other
way? No, my actual true thoughts are that it's personal preference is what matters most, and that either can be very effective, both short and long term, for many goals, provided neither are too extreme, right? Provided you're not taking carbs way too low or fats way too low, which make both diets difficult to adhere to. In practice, having worked with hundreds, if not thousands of clients going over many, many, many years, people who try to eat very low carb diets over a long period of time do not adhere well or see as good of long-term results as people who eat either A, moderate carb, moderate fat, or B, slightly higher carb, slightly lower fat diets. Has been my experience. I'm pretty sure the research says that either can work great.
Yeah. I mean, either the major thing is, as long as calories are equated, they can both work great. I think we run into major issues when you're in a caloric surplus, intentionally or not. No matter what, that's going to be an issue over a long period of time, but especially higher fat. I think higher fat in a caloric surplus will lead to more health problems more quickly than higher carb, lower fat in a surplus. So if calories are equated, I still think, let's say you're in caloric maintenance, I still think the vast majority of people are going to do better health-wise, higher carb, lower fat, especially lower saturated fat.
And that's where, in practice, a lot of the people, especially these days, who want to go higher fat, lower carb, are people who want to eat a ribeye every single day.
Yeah.
They're not people who are like, give me the extra olive oil and the extra serving of salmon and the extra handful of macadamia nuts. Like, that's not how they're getting their higher fat, which would be better.
Yeah.
But it's way higher levels of saturated fat, which, like you said, in a calorie surplus is not good for long-term health outcomes.
Yeah. And even, I think even in caloric maintenance, it's still
worse.
Still significantly worse. I will say that for someone who's morbidly obese and has a lot of body fat to lose, I think a very easy way for them to begin is by reducing their carbohydrate intake, or even by their perceived carbohydrate intake. And when I say perceived, I mean they're also going to be reducing their fat intake as well.
Yeah.
Like I'm
don't
going to
eat
reduce
the
my
muffin.
chips or the muffin. Exactly. It's like
Yeah.
they think that's a carb source. It's like, yeah, but there's a lot of fucking fat in there too.
Yeah.
So it's essentially just reducing your calories. But I think from a overall health and performance perspective, higher carb, lower fat, and specifically lower saturated fat is going to yield better results.
Yeah. Bingo.
All right, here's an interesting one. Hitting protein goals on vacation in Europe. Breakfast and lunch are the main concern. So, Michael, let's say you go to Europe. You've been to Europe. You wanna make sure you get your protein in while you're traveling. What do?
I haven't spent very much time in Europe. I had the summer of 2017 coaching the Staples boys, where I was in Croatia. We were in Austria for a bit.
You were in Italy for a while, though, a couple years ago.
I was in Italy, did a week in Italy with Gary. Let's make this a short one. If you're spending massive amount, we got to break this in. Well, because I don't have extensive knowledge of the protein sources of various countries in Europe. One.
Mm-hmm.
Two is I think this breaks out into two camps. One is the person who's like a little neurotic, a little obsessive, and they're going on one European vacation every 3 years and they're trying to hit their protein targets for those 7 days. It's like, don't worry about
Chill.
it. Just eat a little less protein, and the other 51 weeks out of the year, you'll get after it. Like, it'll be okay. For the people who, I actually have a client right now who's doing a lot of traveling to Europe for work, like borderline spending half of his summer in Europe for work.
That's awesome.
And, well, it is and it isn't, right? If it's kind of like coaching Gary, right? That's awesome. You get to go to Korea and Ireland and London and it's like, yeah, I get to work on my computer in hotel rooms in Korea and Ireland. But if you're someone who has to spend an extensive amount of time there, yeah, it's difficult. And it depends what country you're in, right? If you're in America and you can just, go get a 42-gram core power from the corner store, you can do that in certain cities in certain countries in Europe, and in certain parts of Europe, you can't do that. And so I don't have great practical advice. You'd be better off talking to someone who lives over there and spends an extensive amount of time over there if we really wanted to strategize and get into the dirt on like how to get more protein in XYZ country. I can tell you how to get more protein in America right now, right here, right now on this podcast.
Dude, I know the easiest way. Well, by the way, I completely agree with you. I'm not talking about the person who needs to chill for the fucking week. And I'm not even going to say like, you can reduce your protein and it's still fine, whatever. I just want to answer the question as is. I want to hit my protein. How do I get it? Super easy. Cottage cheese. It's available. It's cottage cheese globally is basically all over the place.
Okay.
Like,
I didn't know this.
I can't say for Japan or anything, but in Japan, I'd be like sushi. You're good. Like, I'm not getting cottage cheese in Japan. I'm going for the sushi. But in Europe, dude, everywhere I've ever been, number one, every hotel breakfast buffet has got cottage cheese.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, every time I've been, and I'm sure we're going to have listeners be like, that's not true, da-da-da-da-da. But like, every time I've been, I see cottage cheese all over the place. And in all like the convenience stores, I see it all over the place. So if you're really focused on it, bro, cottage cheese and eggs, easy.
That's your answer. Cottage cheese and eggs.
If you're really concerned about it.
And packing protein. I'll never forget opening my bag at when I landed in Croatia and got it off of baggage claim at like midnight, and I was with Ben and opened it up to make sure it was mine, because I just always do that, and I had a 5-gallon tub of protein powder that exploded in the flight.
Oh no!
Yeah, so there was just like protein powder on all my clothes. It's like, devastating.
Was that in a vlog?
That's a good question. Probably. It's probably in a vlog from June of 2017.
Oh my gosh. That's brutal.
Yeah, but worth it. Just kind of shuffle it back in there and hit your protein.
Yeah. But also, if I was going to Europe,
Cottage cheese.
well, no. That's just to answer the question. If I was going to Europe, I wouldn't be going to a convenience store to get fucking cottage cheese. I would be enjoying the European breakfast. However, I'm not a fan of the breakfast, I'll say, like a British breakfast.
Beans.
Dude, I hate it. And they always get really mad when I say it, but it's like the baked beans on toast. Are you kidding me?
With the sausage or like,
dude,
kind of like hot dog type of, right?
It's not.
To each their own.
No. You started this podcast talking about fucking mayonnaise soup with chicken.
Yeah.
Baked beans with sausage. Not good.
Look, it certainly isn't a high protein, like good calorie per protein per calorie, like tasty way to start your day. I like baked beans. I'm a big baked beans guy. So
I've never seen you eat baked beans. I didn't know that. Even when Gary came in with his, like, I had a lot of beans last night.
Well, he had a tray.
He had like 5 pounds of beans.
That's in our book.
5 pounds of beans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legend.
When was the last time you had baked beans?
Within the last month. If we grill at my parents' house, there'll often be a side. Watermelon, baked beans, kebabs, chicken steak. Yeah.
Like from a can?
Honestly, brother, I don't know. I just know that they're there. Probably.
I like canned foods. Canned food's fine. I just didn't know if they're homemade.
I truly don't know.
Your mom makes them?
Yeah.
Got it. Nice. Rest pauses during lifting, cheating or no?
No, not cheating. A great strategy if you're pressed for time and you still want to get sufficient intensity in. In fact, I used rest pause training this morning for the first time in probably 6 months. I told you when I was leaving the gym, I wanted to get all of my normal volume in for the workout for an upper body lifting day, but I was limited on time. I had like 50 to 60% of the amount of time that I normally had. So I did an expedited warm up. I kept rest times down. And by the time I was getting late in the workout, I was going to have to cut lateral raises. I was like, this is unacceptable. So I did one giant power set that involved some rest pause training after a top set essentially to failure, within 1 to 2 reps of failure. So very effective way to get to save time and still get sufficient intensity in.
Yeah, get a good training effect. I also think it's just funny when people say like something is cheating.
Well, yeah, rest pause is certainly not. I can understand it more in other contexts. Steroids are cheating.
They're not cheating.
I'm not going to say
unless you're competing.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not.
That Kanye West quote is not going to say. I'm not going to say the people who did it or the doctor where he comes from or what people's hospital it was at. He was Jewish.
It was a Jewish doctor. They are though. They are.
They're not.
We all know that they are. They are. We got every fitness
that opens
influencer.
up such a rabbit hole. It's cheating if you are lying about it, and if especially if you're competing in a place in which it's banned. If it's not banned, it's immoral to lie about it. That's for sure.
Yes, well, because all humans aren't operating on the same ethical framework, and we can, because we're talking about life, we're not talking about competing in a pro sports league. Cheating is going to be interpreted differently. But yes, the fitness influencer who takes a bunch of testosterone, whether they call it TRT because they're injecting 300 mgs and it's not really TRT. They're 28 years old. They don't need TRT. Their total test is like 1,800. They're jacked out of their minds. They have super physiological levels. They've well beyond any physique they've ever achieved before or could achieve naturally. They don't disclose it. They post shirtless and they're selling on the back end of their physique. They're cheating. Fine, use a different word. It's unethical. But yes, for all intents and purposes, it's cheating. Now, is the 60-year-old dude who's on 120 MIGs a week because his doctor, not like a TRT clinic, like dude with a 24-inch neck doctor, but like a real doctor, not some guy who's an entrepreneur who happens to be an MD who's making 7 figures selling people on hormones, which those are rampant right now. We can talk about that if you want to. Rampant, not just with hormones, but with peptides, with everything. If that guy tells you, oh, here you go, Billy, like, here's your 500 milligrams. Let's see if this goes well, we'll get you on some trend. Like, no, that's not TRT. The 48-year-old mom of 3 who's been working her butt off for many, many years and has tried to get down to a healthy body fat percentage for many, many years, has been unable to, needs to lose 75 pounds for her health. Her doctor puts her on a GLP-1. No, of course she's not cheating. 22-year-old gets a bunch of surgeries, gets butt implants and lies about it, says it's her glute kickback band program, bands only, do it at home, $199 a month. Cheating. She's cheating. Okay? This is obvious stuff. Like, we would have consensus among all reasonable people on these points that I'm making.
Clip all of those. Those are all amazing individual clips.
Do you agree or disagree?
I agree with that nuance. Nuance. Yeah. When you
initial take of just being funny and saying it's all cheating, obviously not.
Yeah. When you made the distinction in the types of people and when someone's profiting off of it, off of the lie, that any logical, reasonable person agrees with that.
Yeah.
When it's just the individual who's doing it properly and like with medical supervision for their health, that is the nuance I completely agree with.
And then there's also a gray area where steroids are not cheating, but the person probably still shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
Like the reason that they're the recreational lifter who just wants to add more muscle for vanity because he thinks that it's going to lead to XYZ results that it probably won't lead to. Like, no, that's not cheating. He's not lying about it. He's not profiting from it. He's not running a business around it. But it's probably not good for him.
Yeah, correct. It's not an intelligent decision. Yeah.
And there are safer and less safe ways to do it. And obviously doing it with medical supervision is way better than doing it on your own and buying juice in the locker room of Gold's Gym. Like there are levels.
There are levels to this. Sleep supplements.
Do you have any sleep supplements you take?
I don't take it right now. Melatonin is generally a good one. I don't take it right now just because I don't need it. Like when it's time for me to go to sleep, I'm out. I'm out very, very quickly. But I'm also not getting that much. And if I wanted to take it properly, I would take it several hours probably before I go to bed. And then I'd start to get a little bit sleepy. And then I wouldn't be being creative and doing what I'm doing. So I'm deliberately not taking it right now. And I'm also working out late at night. So it's just, it doesn't go with my current schedule. But if I was really trying to optimize my sleep, then I would be taking melatonin.
Yeah. In general, I think we've pendulum too far towards taking more supplements rather than fewer supplements. And I know that's a pretty unpopular take. I know a lot of very smart people who I respect who think that 5 years down the road, we're all going to be taking 100 pills and 1 million injections a day because that's where the medicine and technology is going. So I could be wrong on this, but I think no sleep supplement is necessary. I think managing your caffeine, I think managing your light exposure are two of the big things that are going to help.
You take melatonin though, right?
I'm getting there, but a good hard workout during the day, getting your steps in, like those things are all going to be beneficial. I love melatonin, so I take melatonin. I should probably take less. I take 3 milligrams. Like an actual, I believe the effective dosage of melatonin is like 0.5 milligram. So if you've never taken it before and you're going to start, you want to be taking way less than over-the-counter bottles sell. But it helps me fall asleep immediately, which is beneficial when I'm on a tight schedule. If I got a 4 a.m. feeding I got to wake up for, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I take 2.5 or 3 mgs per night. And then if you're changing time zones or like you want to reset your sleep schedule, it can be really beneficial too.
Oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you this. This is so funny. We had a big storm here. I think it was last week, and our power went out, and we have a generator, which is probably one of the better investments I would give someone if they're gonna build a house and you, God forbid, need it. Like a generator is a nice thing to have.
Do you know how much it was?
How much the generator cost?
Yeah.
I don't, because
you bought it with the house.
It runs off propane. Well, no. Well, yeah, we bought everything with the house, but I remember there was a cost for the generator, but there's also a cost for the propane. The generator is different, and the propane tank was a lot.
Okay. Okay.
But like worth it in terms of you lose power, you lose everything.
How long was your power out for?
Well, so I'm getting there. All right.
I'm sitting on pins and needles.
So power goes out, and usually as soon as the power goes out, boom, generator comes on. Power went out, generator didn't come on. Well, actually, that's wrong. The generator did come on, but the power didn't come on. So I heard the generator. I was looking at the generator. I went outside at 4 in the fucking morning because I see that the generator's on, but we don't have power. And I'm like, what the fuck? Paid all this fucking money for this generator, and now it's not even working. And it's 4 in the morning, and the generator company is supposed to be 24/7, but they're not picking up. So I searched like a generator service company out in Dallas, and I call the dude, and I call the company, and it's a woman. And she's like, hey, how can I help? I was like, hey, I'm having a generator issue. And she's like, I'll connect you with one of our servicemen. I get connected, and this dude picks up, and he sounds so unbelievably groggy. Like I definitely just woke him up. Without question. He's like, huh? And I was like, hey, I was just connected to you. Like, my generator's not on. And he was like, okay. And basically, he's like, do you want me to try and walk you through it, or you want me to come there? And I'm like, bro, I'm sorry, man. Like, can you just come here? He's like, yeah, I got you. He gets here, and it took him like several hours to figure out the issue. Ironically, it was a very easy fix that he just looked over, but I wouldn't have been able to figure it out even if we were on the phone. Like, there's no way that there's a lot going on. But he gets there, and he's like, man, I took an Advil PM. Couple hours.
Yes.
This dude was dead asleep, man. This guy was rocked unconscious, because those will fucking put you out.
One, do not take them in general, especially like, taking them over the long term is really bad for your brain. And like, there's like substantial dementia and Alzheimer's risk to long-term Advil PM usage. 2, definitely don't take them if you are on call for something and you might have to work in the next 3 hours. Like, that's a bad idea.
Yeah,
Poor
it was
guy.
really bad. I felt bad because like he got out of his car, and he looked like he was delirious. I was like, I can't believe he just drove here.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
It's super dangerous. I think it might even be illegal to drive after taking an Advil PM. If it's not, it should be, because that dude was wrecked, and apparently he was pissed afterwards because he was like, I can't believe I didn't check that. It was like 2 hours, and finally he called his not his mentor, his manager or something, and he's like, I can't figure this out. The manager is like, did you do this? And you could just see on his face, he was like, fuck.
It's like, I forgot to do that. I'm glad you got power back.
Yeah.
How long until the actual power came back on?
Like an hour. Not too bad.
Oh, like in another hour.
Yeah. It was like, because the guy was there for 2 hours, and then
How long was power out in your neighborhood?
about an hour.
Then why did he even come?
Well, number one, because when it goes out.
So he's working on the generator, and your power came back on while he's working on the generator?
Correct.
Oh, okay. But you're like, let's get this fixed if this happens again in the future.
Exactly. I want this to work. So then we had to turn my whole power off and test the generator to make sure that it was working, and there was an issue.
I get it now. I gotcha.
Yeah.
That's nice that it came back on within an hour, though. It did.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
because the girls were sleeping, and yeah.
There's a correlation between how densely populated an area you live in and like how quick they're going to get the power back on versus how remote you are in terms of whether or not a generator makes sense. I undereducated here, but that's my
I'm
point
pretty
of view
remote.
there. You're decently remote. There's also how doomsday-ish, like World War III, cyber attack, power grid goes down. Like, how much do you think that's going to happen in our lifetime, and to the extent of, you know, going without power for days and needing to have your own generator, which is probably a smart thing to do.
My wife's grandfather is super prepper. And he's the reason why we got a generator. He was like, you need to get this. He was like, promise me you're going to get this. I was like, well, we'll absolutely get it. But also, I have the CIA former spy coming on tomorrow, and I'll be asking about that. Like,
oh, nice.
Because she's been talking on her social media about if things progress, how it would go. And she thinks it would be cyber. There'd be cyber attacks. And they've historically attacked banks and da-da-da. But power grid would be a major way to see it go.
On the subject of Advil PM, in the 2021 annual golf tournament that I do with my buddies, there's 2 teams of 8 players per team. Brian Conley woke up for the Saturday morning round. We play 18 holes Friday, 36 Saturday. He woke up for his singles match against Brett Lumberg at 7 a.m. on Saturday, coming off of a night of probably a bunch of White Claws and not a ton of sleep. Went into the bathroom, dug into someone's DOP kit, take a couple Advil, you know, take the edge off, get his headache down so he can go stick it to Lundy. It's dark in there. He pops the 2.
He took
looks
2.
Looks at the bottle, took 2 Advil PMs at 7 a.m. And yeah, that was not his best round.
He must have been fucking exhausted the whole day.
Yeah, I don't know what he was feeling. Not good.
He made it through? He didn't like take a nap or something?
Nah, man, it was the cup. He's competing out there.
Is that, I feel like some people get high doing that. I feel like some people get high, like you have to like wait past the point of.
In fairness to Lundy is a good golfer and was playing really well. So he might have had that match in the bag anyway. I don't know for sure, but I know 2 Advil PMs.
Doesn't help at all.
Doesn't help anyone yet.
That's crazy. Oh man. Yeah. Was he drinking too on top of that?
Honestly, who knows? I wasn't in his group. Could have been.
Wow.
Could have been. But on that note, thank you very much for listening. Please leave a 5-star review, Spotify, Apple, wherever you are listening. Quick little written review, 30 seconds. We would greatly appreciate it. Helps us grow the podcast so we can keep doing these episodes.
That's it.
That's it.
Have a wonderful week.